Miami, 1973. An executive from a bank in the Bahamas flies into town for a date. He leaves his briefcase at the woman's apartment, completely unaware that he has just walked into a trap. The woman he's meeting is actually a private investigator, and the friend who set them up works as an informant for the IRS. While the couple is out to dinner, that informant slips into the apartment, opens the briefcase, and photographs every single document inside. The IRS agents waiting for these photos expected to find organized crime figures using offshore accounts. Instead, they look at the files and find a massive client list of the richest, most prominent people in America, all moving their money out of the country to avoid paying taxes. Investigators realized they hadn't even touched the top 0.1% in the country. But when a newly appointed IRS director learned about the investigation, he personally stepped in and ordered it shut down, refocusing the agency away from the elite and back onto typical street crime. You don't need to overthrow a government to be an oligarch. You just need enough money to buy the power to bypass its laws without consequences. When we hear the word oligarch, we usually picture foreign billionaires controlling state-run monopolies. The American system is different. Here, the ultra-rich use their wealth as a quiet, passive shield to protect their fortunes from the very society that helped build them. This chart shows the distribution of tax responsibilities. Globally, governments miss out on $500 billion every year because the ultra-wealthy hide their assets. When that money isn't collected, it shifts the burden downward. Studies show the average American pays roughly 15% more in taxes just to make up for what the top fraction of a percent manages to hide. The system allowing this is highly functional, perfectly legal, and running in plain sight, and it is entirely subsidized by you. Scholars call this machinery the wealth defense industry. It takes millions of lawyers, accountants, lobbyists, and financial planners to keep the government away from private fortunes. These are ordinary white-collar professionals doing 9-to-5 jobs in high-rise office buildings. Their main tactic is breaking the legal link between an asset and its owner. To do that, they set up trusts and shell companies, hollow businesses that exist only on paper in overseas jurisdictions like the Cayman Islands. This flowchart maps how a single investment fund is deliberately fractured into dozens of subsidiary nodes across Hong Kong, Ukraine, and Belize. The structure is so compartmentalized that the lawyers working on one piece have no idea what the rest of the maze looks like, making it mathematically impossible for regulators to follow the money. The most effective tool for starving public programs of funding is incredibly boring. It is driven entirely by the daily paperwork of thousands of people who just want a stable salary. When clever accounting isn't enough, the wealth defense industry pivots. If a local or federal government tries to close these tax loopholes, oligarchs spend millions on political campaigns and lobbying to ensure the rules themselves are rewritten in their favor. We can see exactly how well this works in this data visualization from a massive 2014 Princeton study. Researchers looked at thousands of policy cases over 2 decades. The flat line on the left shows that what average citizens want has virtually zero impact on whether a law passes. The line on the right shows that when the economic elite want a policy enacted, the likelihood of it passing shoots straight up. Political scientists view this through a vertical and horizontal lens. The horizontal dimension contains all the cultural issues we fight our neighbors over. The vertical dimension is strictly about resources, the tension between the very top of the pyramid and everyone else below. By keeping voters hyper-focused on horizontal culture wars, the system ensures we rarely look up. The noise of daily political divisions acts as a shield, preventing any unified demand to tax the ultra-rich. This dynamic feels like a modern corruption of our government. But protecting elite assets from the majority is actually the original intent of the American system. During the Constitutional Convention in the 1780s, founders like James Madison explicitly worried that a pure democracy would allow the working class to outnumber the wealthy. He warned against a system where those who labor under the hardships of life could legally demand a more equal distribution of property. To prevent that, they engineered specific institutional roadblocks. The Senate was originally designed so senators were appointed by state legislatures, not elected by voters. And the Supreme Court was established with appointed judges holding lifetime terms, giving them the ultimate authority to strike down laws passed by the Democratic majority. Here in America, we operate inside a dual reality. We have real freedoms and a functioning democracy at the local level, but it exists beneath a structural ceiling designed to protect the economic interests of the few. The concentration of wealth we see today isn't permanent. We know this because the United States hit this exact breaking point a little over a century ago. During the late 19th century, industrialists in oil, railroads, and steel built absolute monopolies that consolidated half of the entire nation's wealth into the hands of the top 1%. These Gilded Age plutocrats lived completely unchecked, buying up judges and state legislatures while building sprawling estates that rivaled European palaces. The pressure eventually boiled over. Beginning with the Great Railroad Strikes of 1877, workers staged massive uprisings. Decades of labor agitation and grassroots organizing birthed the Progressive Era, forcing reform-minded politicians into office. When Congress tried to pass an income tax in 1894, the Supreme Court struck it down. The public response was to literally rewrite the Constitution. Ratified in 1913, the 16th Amendment gave the federal government the power to tax incomes directly, breaking the oligarch's grip on the economy for decades. That history tells us something crucial. The structural advantages of the ultra-rich are formidable, but when public frustration hits a critical mass, the rules of the system can be forcibly rewritten. Today, the pendulum has swung back to the extreme. We are living through a new Gilded Age, characterized by a highly visible, incredibly confident class of centibillionaires. There are tools available right now to dismantle this machinery. We can enforce corporate transparency laws that strip the anonymity away from offshore shell companies. We can fully fund the IRS so it actually has the lawyers to audit the top 0.1%. And we can implement a federal wealth tax on assets, not just income. But none of those policies will pass if we remain paralyzed by apathy. Upgrading our society requires us to ignore the horizontal culture wars designed to distract us, point our attention upward, and demand the structural changes needed to trigger the next historical rupture.